Okay, do you know anything about world hunger?
I know that it's a very real thing. I don't know. I admit that I don't know a lot of specific facts about it. About where some of the most needy places are. Um, I know that it continues to be. I mean, as the population increases, I think of hunger as an increasing problem based on population and resources, and things like deforestation and sort of um, just having trouble getting nutritious resources to people. So I guess I think of it in those terms, but I don't know a lot about really specific details, like where are the hungriest people, where are the greatest needs. Um, yeah,
Uh, where do you think it's the most present in the world?
good question. That's what I was just thinking about. I think of I mean, I guess what comes to mind right away are places like India or places like Indonesia or Bangladesh, or certainly some countries in Africa where the climate or the geography makes food difficult to grow or to kind of distribute, and where the weather also creates difficulties. Yeah, so I think of some of those countries, but then of course I mean, I think of hunger issues that go unnoticed in America and in the more developed world. I mean, locally there are always hungry people kind of right around you, and people who aren't getting nutritious food, even if they get some food. So yeah, I guess I think about faraway places, but also like local places too that get overlooked. Yeah.
What do you think is the cause of world hunger, in your opinion?
Oh gosh, the cause. Like I said, I all these different factors kind of cluster around in my head when I start to try to think about this stuff. Man, I don't know about the cause of like where it came from originally. That seems harder, but like I feel like there are some factors that keep it going that cause it to be a continuing issue, which is that people, including us, like people who have resources, don't, and especially people who have a lot of resources, don't. Um, there aren't effective channels and sort of effective patterns of people redistributing, and I don't mean like through government, but it could be governmental, but just there has to be some redistribution of resources.
Yeah.
Money maybe, but also just food, and like you see a lot of waste, a lot of sort of wasted money in food happening in the developed world, and then you have a scarcity of money and food in other places. So I don't know if we can ever pinpoint where all that comes from exactly, but surely to fix any of these things, people are going to have to commit in groups to kind of redistributing where the money and the food are, and sort of giving and coordinating the kind of moving and giving of food and resources. That's the only way. Yeah.
Have you ever done any service to help? Like,
A little bit, not as much as I mean, it's one of those things that it's like this kind of anxious, guilty thing, I think, in the back of a lot of people's minds when you think about this stuff. I have, as part of the school day of service, I have signed up to sort of coordinate or work with some of that Rise Against Hunger, where you're loading the bags of quick, easy, nutritious food that gets sent all over the place. And I've over the years I've worked some with like homeless shelter stuff, but I haven't done much beyond those things.
also, what can we do to help solve it?
That's kind of back to what I was saying earlier about the I think the main thing is like, I don't know if like more nonprofits by themselves is going to, but I feel like organizations are probably one of the greatest ways to start making a dent. Because it can't just be individual. You can't leave it up to individuals to just somehow be generous. I think you have to group together, and you have to have someone kind of like rallying people together. And I do think that maybe, if governments would commit together, not just individual governments, different governments would sort of work together in the same way they work towards trade agreements or something, they would really address hunger
Yeah.
at the level of like government action. I don't know how that would work, but something would be better than nothing.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.